What are the best and worst home builders? Here's the list. Okay, quick disclaimer. Now this video might get a little awkward because I need to make sure I don't purposely go out and disparage builders. I've had some really good experience with builders and some really bad experience with builders. And really where I'm coming from with some of these reviews that I personally give is just personal experience. I'm gonna try to do the best to use your reviews to actually talk about these builders in a little bit better light and not necessarily my experience. Although I'm gonna give you some fresh perspective because nobody's really gonna give you a best and worst list. So it takes some work to actually find a best and worst list. I've never taken a dollar outside of selling homes on this channel. I've always been super honest about what we're doing, and I never wanted to be swayed by money coming in from a builder or anyone else to make it sound like this is better or worse. So here's the video. Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Actually, my wife is probably your favorite Austin realtor because she closes more of these new home construction properties than I do. It is so hard to come up with a solid list. And in fact, everywhere you go, I've seen people say, what is the best and worst builders? Who should I be building with? I put out a very super scientific poll and I asked everybody on Facebook what you thought of builders, who is your best and worst. So we're gonna go through that list in a little bit. But when I went through the comments and the reviews of what people wrote, I looked at a couple sources, Yelp and New Home Source. One of the common themes that I saw a lot of people were upset about is that they felt the builders lied to them or were unprofessional. That is one common theme I constantly saw. Another one was poor build quality. A lot of people, look, we've talked about this on the channel between 2020 and 2024. These builders were slapping up homes as fast as they could, and the quality of some of their subs wasn't the best. So that's another one thing that I really saw in a lot of the comments or the reviews. You tell me in the comment section, what are some of the things you liked and disliked about your home builder? The other thing that I really saw was that a lot of these builders were pushing stuff to the home warranty process of the home. So you close the home and there's all these things that need to be fixed at closing, but they say, don't worry, we'll put them on the home warranty. But the home warranty never showed up. So that was some of the negative things that I saw on these home builders. And overall, just not like very good communication. And I think this is some of the experiences I've had with some of these builders is that they don't want to talk to me as the agent, they want to talk directly to the buyer, but then they don't give the buyer all the information. They mean well, but they don't follow up on everything they tell you. So definitely write down the things that they're saying. Secondly, is people that don't do inspections. A lot of these builders, in fact, there's a guy on Instagram, what's his name? Cy Holmes. We'll link it right here. This guy on Instagram is going through and doing inspections and showing all the bad things some of these builders are doing and trying to cover up. And then it's just really bad system of like poor phone tag, right? And you just don't get a lot of really good quality information that draws things out. Some of the comments that I saw are that builders straight up lied to them. They didn't want to fix things that were major issues. Like I'm going to tell you a story later on about a company that didn't want to fix a major issue that my wife actually had to get them to fix for her buyer client. So we're going to get all into that. Here we go. I went to a couple different sources here. As we go through, I'll give you a couple interesting feedback reviews that I saw. I went through New Home Source, and what's interesting, there's like 25 home builders in and around the Austin area, and Lennar was the lowest on their list. But if you look, like there's different home builders, like you could see that people had written reviews, but they didn't actually review them. Like David Weekley is one that I'd love to see on there. They didn't have it. But Lennar was a 3.7, the lowest I saw on the New Home Source. Next was Century Homes, going up the list, 3.8, Century Homes. Pulte Homes was a 3.9 rating. Drees, a 4.2 rating. Highland Homes, 4.3 rating. Right in there, Syntex Homes, which if you're looking for affordability, a little more affordable homes, Syntex is a good affordable builder. They actually had a 4.2, so right in between Drees and Highland there. But number one on their list was KB Homes. I've had some interesting experience with KB Homes. I don't know that they're the worst builder on my list, but according to the votes, people said that KB was not their favorite. So let's go through the Yelp reviews. All right, and as we go through this, remember, I'm gonna give you some of the reviews on each one of these. The lowest that I found was Meritage, and they gave it a 1 star out of 5. My experience with Meritage has actually been a good experience. I've had a really good experience with clients in Meritage, so I don't necessarily think that it deserves a 1. In fact, in the comment section below, write which one you think is the worst and which one do you think I think is the best. So next up the list with a 1.8 was Century Homes. Did we talk about Century? Yeah, Century was a 3.8 on New Home Source. So Century Homes, I haven't really had a whole lot of experience with Century Homes. You tell me in the comments if they're a good builder or not. I've heard good things, but I don't know. We are standing in a David Weekley home right now, and I gotta say, build quality looks pretty darn good. I've personally owned David Weekley homes in the past. Now again, this was a resale home that I owned, and I felt it was pretty decent quality. Now, I did do a video not too long ago talking about the build quality from 2020 to 2024, so you tell me if you're still seeing good build quality or not. But I like David Weekley. I've had good experience with David Weekley. We've had clients buy in Provence recently with David Weekley. Overall, pretty good experience with David Weekley personally. They're at a 2.3 on this list, 2.3 stars. You tell me your experience with them. Next up the list, we got 2 more. Milestone was a 2.8. Interesting. I like the M Signature product. So M Signature is their higher end stuff. I've had good experience personally building with well, again, the Milestone rep, it depends on who you get. She was great person, but man, did she say a lot of things that did not come true. Anyway, 2.8 was their rating, and there's one home above this. Before we hit the #1 home on this ratings, the 134 reviews, this builder is a local builder. One other note I want to give you. When you are building, a lot of builders will tell you don't use a realtor. It's up to you. Challenge is if you don't use a realtor, all the things that I'm telling you that we're fact checking on clients doesn't come true, right? They're going to tell you all of these things that, oh yeah, because guess what? They want to sell you a home at the end of the day. Our job is to fact check and make sure they're actually building you a quality home. So I've said my piece. Braun Homes on the top of this list with a 4-star rating, 134 reviews. Is that a juice score? I don't know. I've closed one Braun home that I can think of personally, and it was a decent experience. This was a while ago, so I don't know if they've gotten better from that experience, but I think Braun Homes overall, there's some builds in South Austin. They look like good quality, but I'm in a David Weekley home right now, and I like the quality of this. So you tell me. What's really funny is I went onto Facebook and I asked you, I said, what's the best and worst builders? Here's what you said. Here's just kind of an overview of what some people said. Now again, this isn't me saying this is them saying it. So my friend Paul says, Toll Brothers is horrible. They advertise luxury and far from it. I don't think there was one happy customer in all of our homes in the Pinnacle section of Belterra. That's what he said, not me. And really, it just said it came down to bad trades, taking forever, something that fixed under home warranty, all of those things. Samantha says, like Highland Homes, dislike Lennar. LGI is worse than Lennar, okay? I'm a fan of Perry and of Highland Homes. Perfect, thank you very much. James Cole, thank you James, says, Chesmar Homes have been the best from my experience when it comes to volume builders. They have really good trades under them, and the last few times I've helped buyers. So there you go, James, thank you. Donald says, Taylor Morrison, Lennar, Meritage, no bueno. They seem to hire less than stellar subs, so some of the craftsmanship is lacking, but they meet the minimum standards, but it's often their poor customer service that strikes out, according to what many buyers have told me. Dylan says, worst is Milestone, Lennar, Starlight Homes, and the best is Bob the Builder. Thanks, Dylan. So if anybody knows this Bob, I'd love to get in touch with him. So that's what some of you have said on this. You tell me what you think. Okay, so you're not gonna believe it. I just saw another review from somebody on my Facebook post about the Milestone community Sky Ridge, which is the community I kind of warned a lot of people about. In fact, I made an entire video warning people about this neighborhood. Here's exactly word for word what she says about Milestone. This follows up on everything I said about Milestone personally from my experience and everything I've been telling people to be careful about this specific neighborhood. I'm not saying Milestone in general, but this is what she says. Here you go. Milestone hasn't been great, but I'm sure they aren't the worst out there. Why do I say that? We bought a Milestone M Signature home for close to $1 million, had high expectations. They put in cheap fixtures, cheap carpet, cheap flooring, some of it done poorly, some of it done well, but not consistent. Then the warranty process was abysmal. The sales team overpromised and the builder underdelivered. This is exactly what I just said was my experience with a builder rep building a milestone home. Here's who got the most votes for being the worst builder: Lennar. One person did come to Lennar's defense in this, and they did say that recently they bought a home in Jarrell. This was an agent, said that they bought a home in Jarrell with Lennar, and that Lennar, they had a really good experience. But the best, and this is what you said. I'm gonna go through the list of all of what people have said, but on my scientific, super scientific poll, the best was Drees, got 4 votes. Highland Homes got 4 votes, which is personally one of my favorites. In fact, I bought a Highland home. I live in a Highland home. And with 3 votes, Perry Homes. I've got some choice words with Perry from some past clients, some recent clients. In fact, Trey Serrano, a good friend of mine, just put out a whole video kind of like breaking down all of the things Perry did wrong with one of his clients. So really good video. Just one thing to think about too when you're working with a builder, understand how they're building their foundations. Post-tension is definitely a good way to go. I know in specific areas, especially around the Austin area, there's different soil types, which means that if you have a lot softer soil, maybe something that's in farmland, you may end up having more foundation problems in the future. So maybe don't buy in those areas. Unfortunately, that's where some of the most affordable homes are in those areas. So something to think about. One other thing that we haven't really talked about with these builders is be careful of the tax rate. I'll do a full video on tax rate, but tax rate with some of these builders, it's not the builder themselves, but with these new construction neighborhoods, the tax rate can be very high. And in Texas, if the tax rate's high and they value the home like crazy, like they did in 2022, you're gonna have a really big tax bill that you end up not knowing was gonna be there and can't afford. So then you're kind of in a position where you can't afford your home anymore. So make sure you're paying attention to tax rates. So if you had to ask me, what are the top builders in my experience that I've had experience with building, that I've had experience with clients that I've liked, I'm gonna give you this list. I'm gonna say number 1, I really enjoy Highland Homes. I personally bought a Highland home because all the good experiences that I've had with past clients buying Highland Homes. Number 1, the communication's always been great. I've always found the build quality to be very good build quality, and just overall experience has been a good experience for my clients. I'd say the next up that I really enjoy is probably Drees Homes. They build a really good quality product for all the same reasons why I like Highland. They build a quality product, and you're gonna say, Jeremy, but those are expensive homes. Don't worry, I'll get to a more affordable price point, because actually Highland does build some affordable price points out in like New Braunfels. So I really like those two. Drees and Highland. The other, I really have had a good experience with the clients I've lived in. I felt they had good quality, was David Weekley. David Weekley's been one of my favorite builders. So those 3 are probably like my 3 favorite top builders for communication, build quality, just overall experience. Those are the 3 I've had the best experience with. What are my least favorites? I got stories for you. I have got stories for you. Number 1 is probably gonna be an experience that Eileen had with Toll Brothers. Just overall, not a very good experience. Didn't communicate very well. They had issues with the house that they didn't wanna fix. It took a lot of doing to get those things fixed. Obviously, they fixed them before closing, but it was just the headache and everything getting those things fixed. Oh God. Look, I've personally built a home with Milestone. I don't dislike Milestone as a builder. I do think that they build a pretty decent product for the price point you get in. The challenge I had is, in my experience with building Milestone, I had a builder rep who got over her skis a little bit on what they could actually provide. So she kept saying they were gonna do this and all these things, and when we got down to it, they didn't really do those things. Now, I don't think she was purposely trying to lie to me. I just think she was very excited about selling homes and selling this particular home and her clients. There was some conniving things that happened post-close. I would say if I had to pick my least favorite, it would probably be Lennar, and it's just because I've had clients literally crying at closing because they did not like the quality. Lennar was tough to work with, overall getting things fixed. The construction managers we've worked with have been fantastic though, so it's really tough. I hate saying bad things about Lennar because the people that work there I've had a good experience with. It's just the overall final product just wasn't quite there. I don't know, what do you think? Was this list helpful? Did you find any of this helpful? Did you write a comment below? Did you subscribe to the channel? And yeah, did you do all those things? We'll see you in the next video.